What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tastes Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Not the release of the week. We were talking about garbage earlier. You can check out that review. But we're doing an extra review this week. We're talking about the new Miley Cyrus record called Something Beautiful. It is her ninth studio album, and it's been described as a visual album. I believe there is an accompanying film with this, which I have not seen. Just looking at the credits, it's got to be one of the more expensive records ever made recently. There's a bajillion people on this, and I saw Rado, who worked as one of the producers on it, said that he had been going like to the studio every day for a year. So they were putting in the hours. I was interested in this record mainly because of Rado being one of the producers. Also, Sean Everett, who, he's a little more hit or miss for me, but I've enjoyed some of his past work. And you've got some other guests like Brittany Howard and just like random Larry Goldings and just like so many different people on this record. You and Cram did the Miley Cyrus discography earlier in the days of the channel. What's this, her second or third since then? And I sat that one out just, because I needed a break at the time. But I will say Miley, as far as the pop stars go, is one of the more interesting ones. She's got some songs I like. I don't know that I'd really say any of her records are great from what I know of them, but I respect her more as an artist than a lot of the other pop stars.
Yeah, I like Miley Cyrus. I think I only got to 4 stars once in her discography. Plastic Hearts, which is her very 80s leaning Joan Jett, Stevie Nicks styled album from 2020. And like Jason, I probably like her more than Jason, but I respect her more than almost any other pop star just because of how friggin' like crazy she is and how she just is not afraid to just do something super weird like Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets, which was one of the weirdest albums I've ever listened to, which came right after like Bangers and Wrecking Ball and like, this massive album, and she just went like the complete opposite direction. She did like a country album, which wasn't great, but it was still like, hey, let's try something new. Then she did the 80s album, which was pretty good. Then she did Endless Summer Vacation, which wasn't very good. But again, she's interesting. She tries a bunch of weird stuff. Um, and I think she's pretty much had as good of a career as you possibly can, like post Disney and like sort of losing her mind a little bit. Like she was on the cusp of just completely going over the edge. She's kind of reined it in. She's only 33, I think. So she's like has a lot more to give, I think, and I like her progression throughout her career, and I think she is just an interesting artist. So I think a lot of people just think of her as sort of either like a Hannah Montana, like faded Disney star, or just like a typical like pop princess type. But I think she's definitely more interesting than that. So I was pretty interested to hear what she would go, what direction she would go with this one, and especially once Jonathan Brado's involved. And if there's a song co-written by Molly Rankin and Alec O'Hanley from Always, which that immediately gets my attention. So I uh, I was interested in this one for sure.
All right, so getting into the record, it starts off with Prelude, which is like a spoken word over dramatic swelling strings. She said the record is inspired by Pink Floyd's The Wall, which I don't get much of that except for in these couple little interludes, but that's interesting to note. And then we get into the title track. Starts out kind of ballad heavy and then breaks into these explosive choruses, which I will say I did not care for that much. Probably my least favorite track on the record, honestly, is that title track, and having it open the record. Eh, uh, I could do it without it entirely. But then we get into some better stuff. I think from there on, all the tracks are really well composed. End of the World, track three, is the one that Molly Rankin has a co-write on. Really catchy, well produced, super slick. One thing I'll say about the record is I think it's I think all of the songs are pretty good, maybe with the exception of Something Beautiful. Even that's not bad. I just don't really like the treatment of the chorus getting really heavy. It feels a little gimmicky. But I think all of the songs otherwise are well written, super well crafted, really good pop songs. I think the production is strong. I think if you put any of those tracks on the radio, got a solid chance of having a hit. I'm not sure how cohesive everything is, though. I don't know that this record feels like some of her other records where she like kind of dabbles in different genres and areas. This one feels a little more scattered to me. There's some like straight pop stuff. There's some very 80s leaning type stuff. And then near the back of the record, it gets a little bit more like disco-y Dua Lipa territory. Um, So I don't know. Uh, I don't think it hangs together as a record extremely well, but I think individually as tracks, most of the songs are real solid.
That's some high praise from you. I didn't know what you'd think of this. I guess the presence of Rado kind of smooths everything over and makes it all sound good. So I probably should have known that you'd at least appreciate it. I think it's a quite a good album. I agree with your description and your trepidation with the cohesiveness of it. I'm okay with the different, you know, the disco stuff at the end. The Every Girl You've Ever Loved with Naomi Campbell and Pretend You're God, Walk of Fame with Brittany Howard. The dancier stuff is good. I think it is kind of all over the place, a little scattered, but it kind of comes in blocks, which I think makes it a little more palatable and a little easier. It's not just like dun, dun, all over the place. It's sort of like here, and then here, and then here, which I think is interesting, kind of a cool way to sequence it. I agree. End of the World is really great. Just shimmers. It's buoyant, feels warm, inviting. It's classic always. And Rado, like it, and everything on this album, I think sounds great. I think it's her best sounding album by a large margin. I think everything sounds great. I think her vocals are the best that she's ever had. Uh, they're not husky. They were definitely husky on Plastic Hearts. She had like a real strong. I don't know if she was like trying to imitate Stevie Nicks or something, but extremely husky. Here they're a little smoky. I think they're very unique to her. Like no one else really sounds like that. And I think she's just a good singer in general. I think all the songs are good. I like the big booming choruses and Something Beautiful. That doesn't bother me. The Dua Lipa stuff, Easy Lover, Brian Tedder has a co-write on that, and he's sort of more generic pop. Bias Jesso Jr. has a song with BB Borelli, Golden Burning Sun. Andrew Watt has a co-write on here. I mean, it really is just like everyone who's anyone on here. Every Girl You've Ever Loved, kind of a Lady Gaga hustle to it. Really great saxophone hook. It sounds a little bit like art pop to me. Reborn is like made for the catwalk, and then Give Me Love at the end there. Nice closing ballad, and I just think it shows off, her willingness to try a lot of different things. She's a very good chameleon. She really doesn't have a particular sound, and I think that's to her credit that she can do a whole lot of different things. I think she's improving on every album, at least her song craft and the way it sounds and the way she sings. And it's not like a sublime record. I think it's a slight step up over Lady Gaga, and a pretty big step over Dua Lipa's last album. I don't think it's quite as interesting as like a Billie Eilish, her last one. But I think it's another nice step forward for Miley, and it's good to see her continue, her growth and just being a good pop artist. She's not the best, but she's certainly ahead of most of the pack, and I think she has a very interesting take on things, a very unique viewpoint on music, and I think she shows that off really well here. So I'll go 4 stars for this one.
I'm at a real strong 3.5, just a solid 3.5. Another thing I'll say about like it feels like all the tracks are produced to be big hit singles, which is kind of expected for an artist like her. And like I said, individually they work, but I think the record is lacking a little dynamics. I think everything is produced with some level of anthemicness. And I don't think every track needs that. I think there could be a few more sparse moments, quieter moments, weirder detours. I mean, I've heard a lot of people like say this record is crazy. It's like it's not really that crazy. It's just a pop record. um, I think she's getting maybe a little too much credit for being adventurous. I mean, in her past perhaps, but in this instance, I don't think it's anything too wild. Yeah. So, good singles, good songs all throughout, catchy stuff, well produced, well written. Just, as an album, it's a pop album. It's good, solid stuff. All right. Well, let us know what you think of this record if you've given it a listen yet. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and then head to the video description where you can find us on social media. You can find our Patreon, our merch, our record label. And yeah, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.